On today's episode of Anime Afterthought, Tower of God, episode 10, Beyond the Sadness. Holy shit. Guys, baby Rack is fucking adorable. Look at that little chibi version of Rack. Holy shit. On a side note though, Jesus Christ, remind me never to insult Han Sang-yu. Now today's episode definitely had a different atmosphere to it. Last week was the biggest emotional climax we've had of the series so far. We had multiple betrayals on multiple fronts. We learned of Endorsee's Hunger Games-esque family situation. Anak smiled, Hots got face-palmed, and Ho's story is very tragic. His entire tribe was massacred, him being the lone survivor, after which at some point he was chosen to actually participate in the tower, only to find out that he isn't up to snuff. After being manipulated into taking Rachel as a hostage, being confronted by not only Quant, but Bam, as the walls were slowly closing in, he saw only one path for himself, and that was the path of self-termination. He plunged a dagger into his heart in one of the greatest mic drops I've ever seen, stating he hated Bam before ending his life. That's just... Last week was a fucking emotional roller coaster. It was so intense, and Ho was definitely the spotlight of last week's episode. Upon, reading the comments and self-reflection, while I do believe that a portion of this was based on anger and hatred, he stated several times while monologuing that, it's the haves versus the had-not, the strong versus the weak. I think there was, frustration in himself being unable to save his tribe, unable to climb the tower, just seeing his own shortcomings, and that was it. He decided to, make the ultimate decision one has, and decided to call it quits. And this is where we pick up today's episode. We're first greeted with a nice palate cleanser of baby Rack. Rack had the misfortune of insulting Han Sang-yu, basically calling him short, and in doing so, somehow maybe manipulating Shinso, or to be honest, I have no fucking clue. He shrunk Rack to just a baby size. I don't know, like 2.5, 3 feet tall. But this is a good example of, what to expect going forward. At first, there's these positions, so I figured, everything we see moving forward will somehow relate to them, but seeing how someone has the ability to shrink another person, I'm expanding my scope of what to expect. Like, we could almost fucking see anything. But it does also make me wonder if he has the ability to shrink someone, does he have the ability to heal someone? Or does someone have the ability to heal someone? Because honestly, we might need that because of what we see next. As Kun is getting his jabs in on baby Rack, they're interrupted by Bomb. Yes, Bomb has some startling news. Rachel is no longer able to walk. So Kun and Rack quickly come to the conclusion that Bomb is giving up on claiming the tower, but that is actually not the case. He is more determined than ever. Yes, he doesn't give a shit about claiming the towers or seeing the stars or whatever, but he does care about Rachel, so in fact, he will become her legs and help her climb the tower. News that both Rack and Kun are just delighted to hear. So ever since the beginning of the series, especially when the introduction of more characters came in, there was just something I couldn't comprehend. When trying to create an analysis for certain characters, especially their relationships between one another, it was hard. There was just a stark contrast, a juxtaposition from moment to moment where one, they could be friends, and the others, there are instant betrayals. And I think it's finally dawned on me. This is the tower. One moment we can be enemies, the next moment we can be friends. One moment you're betraying a person, and the next you're mourning them. But I think it's more than just the tower itself. It's the people. They've accepted that this is the way of life. When you decide to take that selfish, self-indulgent journey in an attempt to garner whatever you want, whether it be riches, fame, fortune, power, your journey to the top is truly survival of the fittest. And during this, at any moment, things can change. From friends to enemies, and enemies to friends in the blink of an eye. But this is why I think I relate to Bomb so much. That naive personality is very reminiscent of what we see in your typical shonen. Yes, I know this is a manhwa, and it does give us a new, fresh perspective, but I can't help but to be a little biased when so many before this focus on friendship as a bond and friendship as power, where betrayals are not commonplace. They're actually quite rare and lead to climactic emotional scenarios. But I think it all clicked today with Hos Funeral. As Team Bomb and others gather to mourn the passing of Ho, I think this is when it fully dawned on me that they've signed up for this. They've accepted that this is the tower and this is how shit works. So going forward, I expect to have no expectations, whether it be a newfound friendship and an old enemy, or a quite literal backstabbing from someone we thought was close. I'm going to open my mind to this new perspective where literally anything can happen. I have to say this series really has taught me a lot so far, and it truly has been entertaining, especially where we go with the story next. After Ho's wake that leads to a drunken stupor, it seems that Serena has given up. Maybe Ho's death has affected her more than we think, or maybe it's the fact that she knows that she won't be moving on since there is a limited slot in positions. And I find it most interesting that it's Chibi that makes this revelation, as he is actually confronting her on a way out, not wanting to say her goodbye. She decides to leave instead, passing off her dagger to Shibisu, wishing him luck and hoping he doesn't die. Now, following this departure is quite a few interesting scenes all right in a row. If I'd have to give him a theme, it'd be Han Sung-yu. The first one involves the administrator confronting the instructor Yuga, or at least the person attempting to impersonate him. Yes, as the fluffy pillow-shaped sheep man is using his pocket to communicate to some unknown person, saying, yes, this individual will pass. Maybe he is referring to Bomb, I'm not 100% sure, as well as telling this individual that the acquisition of Green April and Black March will be soon. He is confronted by Yu, revealing the fact that this is not the instructor Yuga, but in fact a member of the Royal Enforcement Division Unit 67 by the name of Lopo Byren, an individual who seems to be a ranker directly under the guise of jihad. And at this point, Lopo is elated by the fact that he is finally confronted, stating that he has been bored all this time. He finally gets to fight an opponent he's wanted to fight for a while, Han Sung-yu, the deep sea fish of Ivankal's floor, where in turn he summons a giant eel type creature, only to have Yu show his superiority by summoning an even bigger creature that literally bites the other one in half. Not deterred from fighting this ranker, it seems Lopo is intent on keeping on this battle, but in fact Han Sung has other plans, understanding that his mission is to recapture Green April as well as Black March and the elimination of a knock, and it seems that Yu is content on letting Lopo finish out his mission, even offering help, stating that this is where we determine if someone will harm the tower, and I am the fiendish deep sea fish in charge of getting rid of all nuisances. This is all going on with that such blank expression on Yu's face. Is he hiding more? Are there other machinations? Are there other plans going on? What the fuck is he really up to? Such a powerful yet mysterious character, and once again I can't get a grasp on his motivations or his actual goals, which I'm even more confused in the next scene, as we see that Kun has begun to interrogate, or at least, question Leroux on the mysterious letter that he acquired from Ho. Detective Kun is on the case, and only seems certain individuals were able to pull off this letter. They had to have known certain aspects, Bam and Rachel's relationship, as well as where they would fall on certain teams, or at least maybe have the power to create said teams. After this discussion, flashing back to Han Sung-yu in his office, one would only assume that this was Yu that actually wrote the letter, so he manipulated to the fact that Ho would take Rachel hostage and maybe take Bam out, or do the plans themselves go deeper? I'm completely shocked. I don't know why this administrator is doing this, except for the fact that he pretty much just stated it in the previous scene. He wants to give all nuisances out of the tower, anyone that would harm the tower's integrity, and it seems he's also privy to the information that Bam is an irregular, and soon so will everyone else. Rounding out today's episode is the position ceremony, announcing who passed and who failed. A lot of our main characters are getting the go-ahead. Even some of our secondary characters that have barely made an appearance are passing, but it seems there's two failures in particular they like to focus on. The first one being Ghost, aka Berserker Dude, aka Rack's chocolate bar bestie. Yes, it turns out that he has completely vanished, and because he is not here, he has officially failed. Obviously, Rack is protesting this, and even early on in the episode, we see that when Endorsi was asked about Ghost, Rachel was already hooked up with him in the beginning, so she wasn't much help on giving us information about him. Now, another failure that wasn't too shocking was Michelle Light. Yes, Rachel would have passed. She would have, fit the light bearer position, but unfortunately, she can no longer participate. Obviously, this has Bam visibly upset. Going to speak up, he is stopped by Kun momentarily because, Yu does open the floor to any complaints. The first one being the spear bearer that left Hots so high and dry. Yeah, not the green goober that actually passed, the other guy. Definitely called bullshit, and he actually confronted Yu about this, to which he actually gave him an opportunity to pass, stating if he endured what I can only assume was an internal barrage of Shinsu for 1 minute, he would be deemed worthy. Yeah, this was fucking grueling drooling, absolutely terrifying. It looked like whatever's going on was all internal as we see him vomit up saliva, cry, bleed out his fucking nose. Like his screams were torturous, and they were all directed for Pericule, you know, the dude, like I said, Green Goober, which you actually calls out like, hey, do you want to have something to complain about? Oh, no. I'm good. I passed. What a little fucking bitch. But yeah, suffice it to say, the guy was not worthy and had to be drug off the fucking floor. Now, after witnessing this, you figure no one else would fucking complain. This dude is a legit fucking monster and is quite fucking scary. But of course, like I said, expect no expectations. And yeah, we got Kun. Kun decides to also make a complaint, questioning, you know, his intent. Use like, what do you have to complain about? You passed. Oh, I want Rachel to pass as well. My friend likes her, wants her to continue her journey. So yeah, I'll go ahead and I'd like to submit a formal complaint. Well, it turns out she is no longer deemed, you know, capable of participating in tests, and it's non-negotiable. So it seems Kun is privy to some extra information thanks to Lororo, and it turns out there is a unique circumstance that allow him to change the rules. If he takes an administrator test, he will gain the ability to alter the rules. Shocked that he knew this type of information, obviously he garnered it from Lororo. He is missing one small detail. Yes, the administrator test does exist. Yes, you know, in doing so and passing it, you'll be able to alter the rules, but there's one hiccup. Only one individual, one certain type of individual is actually able to take said test, and that's an irregular, someone who has forced his way into the tower. And here we go. This is the big shining fucking moment where everyone is hit with that giant info bomb, as Kun and even Lororo, who wasn't privy to that information, is still, you know, kind of reeling from that fact. Bomb steps up and says, hey everybody, I'll take the test because I am an irregular. And everyone is fucking shocked. Everyone's shocked. Even Lororo was shocked. I thought he expected, you know, or at least I thought he was on to Bam for being an irregular. But judging by the look on his face, he wasn't. A lot of people weren't. Everyone was absolutely in awe that an irregular had showed up. I mean, we see in Dorsey, we see a knock, everyone. Of course, except you. Almost as if by design, he knew Bomb would step up. He's like, okay, let's go. Time to administer this test. Now, as he's walked off, everyone is basically huddled in a little type of meeting and is basically given a choice. They're talking over what actually an irregular is. They're all saying like, oh, he's a criminal. He forced his way in here. He's not chosen to do the tower. He'll harm it. He's bad for it. And Lororo explains what's going on. Bam is taking the test and you have the opportunity to help him. If you do, it is absolutely the quickest way, the shortest route to go up the tower to advance. But you will forever be labeled, you know, an accessory or an accomplice to an irregular. Obviously, this is a position where people don't want to be because, I mean, you saw the disgust on the face. They barely, I mean, some of the characters don't even know what an irregular is, yet everyone is absolutely shunning them, talking shit about Bomb, a character who's basically helped out everyone, has been really nice since the very fucking beginning. And at first, we think that maybe even Kun is having second thoughts, stating that, you know, Bomb being an irregular has changed absolutely everything. I no longer want to give him any help, which he's instantly stopped by Baby Rack, who's like, no, fucking, we need to help Black Turtle. I don't care who the fuck he is. Black Turtle is Black Turtle. We're going up the fucking tower. Fuck you. Obviously, this is an act, and everyone calls fucking bullshit on it. Like, dude, your shitty acting sucks. Like, you honestly think we're going to ditch Bomb at this point? Whether it's for the selfish act of going up the tower that much quicker, or actually wanting to help him out, they're in for it. It seems they're not going to give up on him so easily. Now, after this charade was called out, we switch back to Bomb, who is once again in front of what I assumed at the beginning was a giant turtle. Turns out, you guys told me it's a giant eel, and he's a lot bigger than what the anime is conveying. Like, he's fucking huge. And he is welcomed back once again by this giant creature. So yes, it seems this test is between Bomb and the Guardian, yet the other ones can help out. So here we are, end of episode 10. Like I said, there's been enlightenment. There's been a lot of enlightening factors. I finally realized that this is the tower. This is how the tower works. Going forward, I'm going to dismiss all expectation and hope and just take everything as it is, as it comes forward. There is a lot of interesting aspects, though, I do want to theorize on, especially that we do see that Shinsu, or at least individuals, can manipulate other aspects besides, you know, their positions. As we see that U is able to shrink Rack. A, is it permanent? B, can anyone do this? C, what other things can people do? Can they heal? AKA, will Rachel, who is unable to walk, ever be able to walk again? What is up with Lopo? Whatever happened to the original instructor? Was it Yuga? Is he fucking dead? Will we ever get to see Serena again now that she has bowed out of the tower. If a person bows out of a tower, can they ever go back and attempt it again? Will they have to be rechosen? There's a lot to think about, a lot to ponder on today's episode. I really enjoyed it. Like I said, it was very enlightening, very eye-opening. In that cliffhanger, once again, Bomb is in front of the Guardian, who is, yes, a giant fucking eel, not a giant fucking turtle. See, I'm excited, but I'm also scared. We're 3 episodes out from the ending of season 1, and honestly, Wednesdays won't be the same without this series. But I am looking forward to another manhwa that is getting a release soon. I believe it's in July. For those wondering, yes, I will be covering God of High School. One of my favorite shonen tropes is the tournament arc, and I'm 99.9% sure I was told that this series is basically fucking tournament after tournament. So I am fucking excited. And that Crunchyroll trailer, holy shit, that thing was a thing of beauty. But yes, today's episode was awesome. I absolutely loved it. And hopefully with more baby rack and betrayals and tests around the corner, I honestly cannot wait for future episodes.